Good evening and welcome to our Board of Commissioners meeting this April 27th, 2021. In lieu of our invocation today, we will have a moment of silence, followed by a pledge, which will be brought by Officer Garrett. If you are willing, please join me as we go into our moment of silence. Thank you. We will now have our pledge by Officer Garrett.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This meeting is now called to order. At the beginning of this year, we have started kicking off our meetings with an update from Cobb Douglas Public Health regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. If you can bear with us, we are going to have them be queued up here virtually for our regular update. Hi, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Chairwoman Cupid. I'm happy to be here tonight. We are going to present, I hope, for the last time virtually, and then hopefully in our May meetings, we'll be there in person. We appreciate you all understanding that we're usually booked back to back, and this helps us with our time management.
Certainly.
I am going to be presenting tonight. Dr. Memark is not able to join us. She had another commitment. And so I've asked Dr. David Jackson to join us because I am not a physician and don't play one on TV, and always want to make sure that if you all have medical questions that we've got the experts available to answer those. Dr. Jackson is a board certified physician. He's a preventive medicine resident fellow on loan to us this past year from the CDC. So he's been a tremendous asset to us this whole pandemic and is more than qualified to answer any of your medical questions that you may have that come up tonight.
Great.
I'm going to share my screen and go through a few slides with you as usual. And can you see that okay?
Yes, we can.
Great. Let me make sure I can, it doesn't look like I'm able to. There we go. I wasn't able to navigate through them.
Okay.
So I just want to hit a few of the highlights from the data for you. I'm sure that by now, most of you are looking at this and can interpret this on your own, but just want to keep you updated. So when we were together a couple of weeks ago, our total positive case rate, 2-week case rate was at about 225. Yesterday it was 212 per 100,000 residents. Just looked at it a minute ago and it was down to 207. So it's certainly going in the right direction. We are not out of the high spread yet, and our decline has slowed, but I will tell you that we're excited because we were worried that we might have a bit of a bump because of spring break and Easter holidays. But it looks like we may have dodged a bullet on that. So that's good news. Our positivity rate is at 4.2%. Again, it has been coming down on a slight decline. If you'll remember early in the pandemic, we talked that we wanted to see this below 5% on a regular basis. So we've been holding at about 4.2 to 4.8 the last few weeks. So that's good news. Lower's always better, but we're happy with this percentage. We are also, we look at about 15 different metrics every day on this. And so one of them that we do look at that's the saddest is the number of people that we have lost during this pandemic. in the last 2 weeks, we've lost about 25 more residents to COVID. And so that's devastating. And if you're one of their family members, our heart goes out to you. From a pandemic standpoint, we are pleased that this rate seems to be declining and that we're not seeing the spikes that we saw right after the Christmas and winter holidays. So we're at about 1,035 residents that we've lost to this virus. And again, our heart goes out to all of those family members. I do want to mention, while I've got this slide up, that we've given some information out to put out on the Cobb County website, and it's on our public health website, that FEMA just came out, I believe it was last week, with an application opportunity for family members who have had funeral expenses this past year, with a very reasonable application to be able to help get FEMA to support and cover some of those funeral expenses for our residents. So we'll again make sure that that's available through the Cobb County government website if there are family members who would like to apply. I believe that goes back to mid last year, if I'm not mistaken. Dr. Jackson, do you remember that date?
I think that's right. It may even go back further, but it may go back closer to the start of the pandemic, but we'd have to verify. So,
thank you. So that could be an opportunity. It's certainly not going to bring the loved ones back, but it might help the family with some of the financial burdens.
Certainly.
Wanted to give you an update about the variants. This is a busy slide, and I'm not going to go through all of the details. I will just bring your attention to this light peach color. The B117, or the UK variant. You can see that from the middle of January, where this first column is, all the way through the end of March, how the volume of the B117 variant has increased. And as of this slide, it was covering about 44% of all the variants were the B117 or the UK variant. I was on a DHD call today, a state call, where our state epidemiologist said that Georgia now has 64% of all the variant cases are now the B117 variant. So again, remember that our concern for this is that, one, we think that these variants, at least this one, is more contagious, but the jury's still out about whether it is more deadly. Dr. Jackson, anything you want to add there on the variants? You've been tracking those a little better.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. It's continuing to see that uptick, especially in that B117 variant. This is the one that you may have heard about, is called the UK variant, as it was first identified there, but has really spread rapidly across the country, and no exception here in Georgia. As Lisa noted, it tends to spread more easily, and there have been some studies that have indicated or suggested that it may be more deadly as well. We're trying to keep close tabs on these, and this virus, at least for this particular variant, the vaccines still appear to be protective against this particular variant, but particularly the so-called South African variant is of bigger concern, but that one has not spread as widely as this UK variant, the B117.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. So just kind of in summary, remember that we're still in high spread, that even 212 or now 207 today is still considered high, because anything over 100 cases per 100,000 residents is in the high category. But we are certainly encouraged by the reducing positivity rate and the continued downward trend. We do ask that residents continue to get tested if they have symptoms or if they're identified as a direct contact. And just a reminder to everybody, our epidemiology staff is still investigating outbreaks, still doing case investigations, and still doing contact tracing very robustly. We've had a couple of outbreaks this week that they've been looking into. So it hasn't gone away yet. So we ask folks to still be diligent. If you need to get tested, a reminder that we still have the free PCR testing at Jim Miller Park through our Mako lab partner. An appointment is not required, but you do just need to register in advance. And their turnaround has been very quick. Other retail locations are continuing to do PCR and antigen testing. And then just a reminder that where we had satellite testings with sites with our core partners, this week we finished converting those testing sites to vaccination sites to increase access around the county. So let's turn our attention to vaccinations a little bit and talk about that, because I think that's where there is the most interest. So keep in mind that about 2 weeks ago, or since 2 weeks ago, we've vaccinated about 1.1 million people more than we had when we last met. So we're now at almost 5.9 million people in Georgia are vaccinated. We have 34% of our residents across the state have at least one dose, and 24% have been fully vaccinated. That's up from 17% 2 weeks ago that were fully vaccinated. So making some nice progress very quickly, but it is just not as fast as we want it to be. In Cobb County, I wanted to bring your attention there. We have administered about 350,000 vaccinations. Of our Cobb County residents, 26% have at least one dose, and 21% are fully vaccinated. That's up from 16% just 2 weeks ago. So we're making nice progress there. You can always get this information off the DPH website. It's updated daily as well, just like the testing information is updated. I wanted to just bring your attention quickly to some of the folks and a little bit of the breakdown about who's getting vaccinated. So this top chart that you see, this bar graph, is a breakdown of what percent of Cobb County residents in these different age groups have at least one dose. And so you can see that our 65-year-olds and older have done a great job getting vaccinated, or at least getting one dose. That's not surprising, right? Because they were eligible a lot earlier than any of the other age groups. So we would expect that. We do also see down here in this bottom pie chart and the bar graph, you can see that the majority of doses are being taken or being given in our white population. We also see that if you look at the percent of the population in Cobb County with at least one dose by race, you can see the breakdown. And so we feel like we need to focus our attention on individuals who are 55 years of age and younger, our Black population of all ages, and then our Hispanic Latino residents of all ages. They are also tracking lower on vaccine usage than our non-Hispanic Latino residents. And I'll talk to you a little bit about how public health is trying to update or trying to reach some of those residents in just a minute. Great news today, breaking news today, CDC released some new outdoor mask guidelines. I'm excited about how CDC has very methodically been releasing guidelines for those who are vaccinated as we have seen more science come to be available. And so, you know, we kind of started out with grandparents who were vaccinated could visit with their children and their grandchildren without having to wear masks. Then we went to folks who were vaccinated did not have to quarantine or isolate if they were exposed to someone who was a positive case. And now the outdoor mask guidelines have been relaxed. So you can see that folks who are fully vaccinated have a lot more leeway to be able to be outside, to be in small gatherings, to dine outside with folks without wearing their masks. We still want vaccinated folks, if they're in a large outdoor event, like a sports event or a concert or live performance, that they would still wear their masks. Dr. Jackson, anything you want to add there?
No, this is great news. You know, continued data that has emphasized the safety, especially for those who are fully vaccinated, which again would refer to those who are 2 weeks or more out from a single dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine, or 2 weeks or more out from the second dose of their Moderna or Pfizer vaccine. You know, the data is really clear that it seems safe for these individuals to be outdoors without a mask because the risk of transmission in those individuals is so low. Just really great news of the high level of effectiveness of these vaccines, which is just a tremendous added tool for us.
I agree. This weekend, I was able to eat outside with a group of people who have been friends of mine for 30 years. Everybody was vaccinated, and we felt like we ought to start taking pictures because it was the first time in a year that we'd been able to be together without being masked or being really far apart from each other. So it is very liberating to be able to see some of these guidelines start to relax. So just wanted to give you an update. The last time we met, there was, I think Johnson & Johnson had just paused the use. And so just a reminder, and wanted to give you an update about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. So recall that back on April 13th, the CDC and the FDA recommended pausing the use of the Janssen vaccine, or the Johnson & Johnson, in the United States because 6 people had reported rare blood clots, among them almost 7 million recipients in the U.S. So they paused it. They wanted to do a deeper dive on those 6 reported situations, cases. And so then on April 23rd, the ACIP met, and after doing a deep dive on the data, they concluded that the benefits of resuming the J&J COVID vaccinations among individuals 18 years of age and older outweighed the risk, and they reaffirmed the use of that vaccine. They did add that they wanted to include a new warning about this rare clotting event, particularly for women 18 to 49 years of age. And so on the 23rd, folks resumed the use of J&J vaccine across the country, and education or change was added on the information about this blood clot risk. I will tell you that in Cobb County, we have a number of folks who use all 3 of the vaccine types or brands, and they're going to be resuming J&J vaccine use now. Cobb and Douglas Public Health also uses all 3 vaccinations or vaccine types. And so we've just decided that as we are doing the different outreach events, we will make it available as to what vaccine we're using. And so if individuals choose to prefer one or another vaccine, they can do that by the event that they choose to participate in. Dr. Jackson, anything you want to add here?
No, just to say this is really a triumph, as some of you may have heard me say, for our safety monitoring system, that we were able to capture or identify 6 cases out of those 7 million doses that had been administered of this vaccine. And so I think it should really be such a reassuring sign to all of us in the public that our safety monitoring systems are so robust to be able to, capture these types of events to continue keeping all of us safe as we move forward with vaccination efforts.
Agreed. Thank you. Just a reminder that in Georgia, everyone 16 years of age and older is eligible to get vaccinated. Remember that the Pfizer vaccine is currently the only one that is authorized for individuals 16 and 17 years of age. Also remember that individuals under the age of 18 need to have parental consent or legal guardian consent for vaccination. We do expect that the FDA is going to review the application from Pfizer to be able to use their vaccine for 12 to 15-year-olds within the next 4 to 6 weeks. I won't be surprised if that comes out sometime mid to late May that allows that vaccination option for folks. So more to come on that. We have tried as hard as we can to make it easy for folks to find an appointment or know where they can get vaccinated. We are no longer in the situation where we've got vaccine limitations. A lot of providers have vaccines. And so if you go to cobbanddouglaspublichealth.org, you can link to retail pharmacies, all of the public health locations across the state, and also the Georgia Emergency Management Association sites across the state. So all of these links are available on our website. Also want to remind folks that if you have trouble, if you know someone who has trouble navigating a website or making the appointments online, that the Cobb County government folks have come to our rescue and launched this Cobb County call center, 833-974-3366. And folks are there to answer questions, but also to help make appointments. And they're available both through the website, you can see that, or on that phone number. Just want to give you an update about Jim Miller Park. This is also kind of breaking news. We've done almost 60,000 vaccinations to date at this location. We've been opening up about 7,000 new appointments every week over the last few weeks. I will tell you that in the last week and a half that we've had about 100 to 250 appointments daily that are being left unscheduled at this time. So we have just this week changed to where we are accepting folks at this location with no appointment when possible. I have to say when possible because if for some reason we get slammed, we don't want folks waiting for 2 or 3 hours in line, but we are accepting walk-ups and drive-ups at this location. So more information is on our website or through the call center. And then we just today have made the decision about a planned transition out of Jim Miller Park. I know that our fair fans and some of the event fans are cheering at this announcement. We feel like with the declining demand for mass vaccination, that it is the time to start planning for that. That's not something we can turn off very quickly. You know, like that we couldn't decide to do it next week. We really have to plan far in advance to be able to do that because of the way appointments are built. And so beginning May 17th, so about 4 weeks from now or so, we will be changing our schedule at Jim Miller Park to only offer vaccinations at this location Wednesday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. We will be closed for vaccinations on Mondays and Tuesdays. At that same time, we will start to transition our staff and our vaccination services to each Cobb and Douglas Public Health Clinic. And we will continue to provide vaccinations, COVID vaccinations indefinitely at our clinic sites. But we'll start to make that transition in May. And then our last vaccination day at Jim Miller Park is planned. Dr. Memark wants me to make sure to say that this is planned because remember last summer we had a terrible spike in cases and issues. And so we are hoping that that doesn't happen and that folks continue to do the positive efforts of getting vaccinated and following the 3 W's. But it is our hope to have our last day of mass vaccination at Jim Miller Park on June 19th. It's going to take us a little while to clean up that area and pack up everything, and so then we would be fully out on June 30th. But we would continue to do the free Mako testing at Jim Miller Park as long as we weren't in the way of various events, if we would suspend testing on the days that we were at various events. We'll continue to do really robust outreach vaccination events, again, due to our efforts and our partnerships with different folks like our Wellstar Health System and Northside and Pools Pharmacy. We're going to continue to do some outreach vaccination events. We appreciate the Community Development Block Grant funding that provided our mobile health van. And so we don't see that ending and that outreach effort ending for at least 6 months. So we'll continue to do that. This is just an example for you of some of the different locations where we're going to be in May. You can see that we're really trying to assure non-traditional hours, evening times, weekends, Saturdays and Sundays both, and to reach some of our more vulnerable residents across the county who might not be able to get to the mass sites. If you are interested in having us come out to a location, then we'll just, if you can respond to us via our website or you can call the Cobb County Call Center and we'll evaluate and try and get in contact with you to schedule these events. But we're continuing to do really robust outreach with Wellstar. We've converted our core testing locations to vaccination sites across the county. So you can see that we're up at KSU and down at Epicenter and over at St. Thomas the Apostle Catholic Church. We're continuing to support our Georgia Department of Public Health staff and going to some of our larger employers to be able to vaccinate their employees. And then this week, we're excited and hopeful that we're going to be launching our vaccination efforts for some of our homebound residents in partnership with Pools Pharmacy and our Air National Guard folks. More to come about that, but we have right now about 100 residents on that list that we're going to be serving in their home through this partnership. And then I'm excited and hats off to the Braves and to Northside Hospital. They've been working to develop a big event for Truist Park. So this Saturday, May 1st, they are offering to vaccinate up to 5,000 of our community members. Any Georgian age 16 and above can come to this event over at Truist Park. They're going to be using Pfizer, and then they'll be back in 4 weeks on the 26th. So there's more information on the Cobb County government website and also through the Braves and Northside and through Cobb and Douglas Public Health about this event. So just kind of to summarize, please don't relax your prevention practices. We're still in a high spread state. We still are watching these variants, so please continue when you're out in public and in larger groups to wear your mask, watch your distance, and wash your hands. Vaccine supply is now plentiful, so please get vaccinated. Many providers across Cobb County now have appointments available or are doing walk-ups. Please make sure to review the new CDC guidelines about outdoor masks and some travel updates that they've done. And then please visit Truist Park this Saturday for a vaccination, and then spend time at the Battery. What a better way to get vaccinated and then enjoy the time outside and support some of our businesses in Cobb County.
Right.
So I will end there.
Great. Thank you, Lisa, for that thorough and informative update. Commissioners, do you have any questions or comments? Yes, Commissioner Burrow.
Thank you, Lisa and Dr. Jackson. The calendar of the on-site visits where you're going, is that on your website? Or can you send us that slide?
I can send you that slide. We don't have the whole calendar up on our website because some of those events are not open to the public. They're being booked through that location, like the extension or the zone is doing it for their clients.
Okay.
But I certainly can send you the ones, and if we do have those that are open to the public, people can certainly register.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional questions? Well, thank you again, Lisa, for that very helpful update. Hope you have a great rest of your week. And thank you, Dr.
Thank you so
Jackson,
much.
for joining us today.
You all too. Good night.
Thank you. Good night. All right, with that, we're going to segue into the other presentations of today's meeting. We originally had 5 scheduled. The proclamation for Joe Daniel has been pulled, and we will recognize him during our public comment. The first presentation today is to recognize the 30th anniversary of the Juvenile Court of Cobb County's appointed Special Advocate Program. Those here with Juvenile Court, please feel free to join me up front. Good evening, everyone. It's so good to see you. This evening, I have the honor of recognizing our CASA program with Juvenile Court, and they are celebrating 30 years this year. And I'm going to read some text of our proclamation and then provide you some opportunity to address the program. Whereas the Juvenile Court of Cobb County's court-appointed Special Advocate Program has faithfully served our community since 1991, This program trains and supervises citizen volunteers to act as the eyes and ears of juvenile court. CASA volunteers speak up for the needs and basic human rights of child victims of abuse and neglect. Whereas to help reduce the time spent in foster care and ensure permanency, CASA volunteers see each child monthly, conduct interviews, gather information, and prepare court reports. The child's best interests are always kept at the forefront of these endeavors. Whereas over the past 30 years, the CASA program has trained hundreds of volunteers, and those volunteers have spent countless hours advocating for thousands of children adjudicated as abused and neglected. Now, therefore, we, the Cobb County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim April 13th, 2021 as Court-Appointed Special Advocates Day in Cobb County in recognition of this successful volunteer-driven program. We thank these wonderful volunteers for making a positive impact on our community, one child at a time. This, the 27th day of April 2021. Thank you. Provide you some opportunity to talk about your program, Judge Granis.
Thank you, Commissioner Cupid, and thank you all commissioners for this honor. A little bit about the CASA program. I'm going to pull this down just a little bit. The fact of the matter is that the special advocates that come before the court are the ones that they're the individuals who have the most contact with these children. They go to the foster homes, they are in touch with the counselors, they're in touch with the school, and they report back to the court and they provide invaluable information to us. And when just saying that they're the eyes and ears of the court, they absolutely are, but there's so much more. And I can speak for all the judges, we all value them and we all regard their recommendations very highly. Anytime a case comes before us, who we have before us today is the director, Ms. Carlene Redmond. We have Mari Garcia. She is the head of the coordinators. We have Mr. Awanisa Simmons. He is with State CASA. We have the honor today to have Ms. Vanessa Gilbreth here. Ms. Gilbreth is the longest standing CASA. She's been with CASA for over 15 years. And Rose is one of our volunteer coordinators. These individuals who come to us are all volunteers. They come out of the kindness and goodness of their hearts, and they put in hours and hours for the children and families of Cobb County. And I as the chief presiding judge in Cobb Juvenile cannot thank them enough, and all the judges, we can't thank them enough. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, stay here. We're going to grab your picture so we can honor you into perpetuity.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, thank you. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Good to see you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Good seeing you.
Appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
All right, our next presentation will be to present a certificate of appreciation to Metro Atlanta Ambulance Service for partnering with Cobb Senior Services to administer COVID-19 vaccinations. And that presentation will be brought by Commissioner Burrell. Those who are here for the proclamation, please join us up front.
Good evening, everyone. I have the honor of recognizing Metro Atlanta Ambulance Services for their dedication, especially during COVID, of administering vaccines, not only to our senior population, but also partnering with Cobb Douglas Board of Health and the county to ensure that everyone that couldn't get a shot that was 65 and older in the first phase was able to, they were able to help. So we are grateful for their service and can't thank them enough. So our senior services director and agency director and staff are with us tonight too. Metro Atlanta Ambulance went to our Cobb Senior Services Center on Powder Springs Station and administered 100 people in one day, well, actually 99 of 100, I think, and all but one came back for the second shot, and they've made arrangements to get that one to their facility and on Allgood Road to get the last shot. So we can't thank you enough. So here is a certificate of appreciation presented to Metro Atlanta Ambulance Service. The Cobb County Board of Commissioners thanks the members of Metro Atlanta Ambulance Service for partnering with Cobb Senior Services to administer the COVID-19 vaccination to our senior population and Phase 1 COVID-19 eligible residents throughout the county. We appreciate the essential work you provide every day to the people of our community. This the 27th day of April, 2021. This is Mr. Pete Quiones and Mr. Devin Seabog from Metro Atlanta Ambulance Service, and I'm going to ask them to say a few words first.
Well, I want to thank the commission for giving us this certificate. We're very pleased to have been able to contribute to this. We had started the program. We were just going to do a closed pod where we were going to vaccinate just our employees and their families. And then as the need grew, we applied for an open pod, and we started vaccinating by appointment primarily. And I think we got up to almost 18,000 people that we vaccinated, either to or from to our place. But it's been a privilege to be able to be part of this program, and we're glad we were there to help. Anything? Yeah.
And Jatan, would you like to say a few words on behalf of our senior services?
So on behalf of Senior Services, Commissioner Burrow, we appreciate you making the connection for us. And I want to also thank my staff because they stepped up when we were in that phase where we couldn't get seniors through technical difficulties. So this is the technical group. But I want to say thank you so much, and we've received so many kind letters from seniors simply saying thank you for assisting us. So thank you.
Thank you so much. You saved many lives, and we appreciate it. Now come in for a picture.
All right, it's right set up, very good. All right, all set, here we go, in 3, 2, 1, thanks.
Very good. Thank you. Very good. Take care. Our next presentation will be to present a proclamation designating April as Civitan Awareness Month, and this will be brought by Commissioner Gambrill.
Great. Good evening. Thank you for joining me. I'd like to present this proclamation to Civitan International. Civitan International is an organization of volunteer service clubs around the world dedicated to helping people in their own communities. Georgia has more than 30 clubs that support Camp Big Heart, a camp for children and adults with developmental and intellectual disabilities. There are 3 clubs in Marietta, the Marietta Civitan, the East Cobb Civitan, and the North Cobb Civitan that help serve our community for years. These local clubs have helped develop parks, supplied all-ability equipment for playgrounds, supported local charities, provided scholarships, supported youth shelters, and hosted projects and activities that help the special needs community. The Cobb County Board of Commissioners thanks Civitan International and its members for being champions of service in our community this 27th day of April 2021. And I'd like to introduce our guests. We have Pam Brems, who is the current governor of Georgia District Civitan and member of the North Cobb Civitan. We have Mary Karras from the Georgia District Civitan, governor 2018 and 2019, and the current chair of Georgia District Civitan Foundation and member of the East Cobb Civitan. We have Louise Krapps. She's a past governor of Georgia District and the current treasurer of Georgia District Foundation and a member of the Marietta Civitan. We have Caroline Pawlowski, who is an immediate past president of East Cobb Civitan and the public relations director for Georgia Civitan. And we have Connie McManus, who is the past governor of the district, as well as from the Marietta Civitan Club. Thank you for being here tonight.
I just thank you for the recognition and to tell you all that Civitan has 3 legs to our stool, that being fellowship, service, and education. So we have fun while we're learning and helping others, and we'd love for you to join us. Thank you.
Somebody was blinking. Thank you.
Last but not least, we have our final presentation to provide a certificate of achievement to Taylor Dax for reaching the rank of Eagle Scout. And that presentation will be brought by Commissioner Monique Sheffield. Those here with Taylor Dax, please join us up front. Okay.
Taylor Dax, come on down. It gives me great pleasure to present to you tonight Taylor Dax, but before I present him with his Certificate of Achievement, let me just share a little fun facts about Taylor. He is a member of Troop 61, which is chartered to Bethany United Methodist Church in Smyrna, Georgia. Taylor Dax twice served Troop 61 as its senior patrol leader. He is also an outstanding student leader and was selected to participate in the Cobb Chambers Youth Leadership Program 2 years ago. And upon his CYL graduation, he was honored as one of its few youth leaders to advise and support this year's CYL class. Taylor is a senior in Campbell High School CHS prestigious IB program, and he has committed to attending the University of Georgia in the fall. Taylor has recently been awarded the Max A. Bacon Leadership Award and Scholarship by the Smyrna Business Association. So tonight, Cobb County Board of Commissioners presents the Certificate of Achievement to Taylor Dax of Boy Scout Troop 61. The Cobb County Board of Commissioners congratulate you on achieving the highly recognized and honored rank of Eagle Scout. We applaud your efforts to improve the community through service, having benefited the Mableton Historic Community Garden. Your construction of a vegetable prep table and outdoor seating, as well as raising funds for the project, will have a lasting effect for those who use the garden. We wish you the best in your future endeavors and know that you will continue to have a tremendous impact on our community. This, the 27th day of April, 2021. Where's Ross?
You're supposed to. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
That concludes our presentations for this evening. We now have our public comment, where speakers that have signed up will have 5 minutes to address the Board of Commissioners. We just ask when each speaker comes up, if you may please state your name, even though it will be announced, for confirmation in our records.
Thank you, Chairwoman. The first public speaker this evening is Veronica Mercer.
Thank you. My name is Veronica Mercer.
Okay.
And thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. I am standing for myself, not only for myself, but my community, for assistance in the ages group of 45 to 54 that have no children and being discriminated when we call for assistance. I am a product of that, homeless and being displaced. Many of us are sleeping in our cars, in hotels. During the time of the COVID, when it came, many of us was unemployed. We got terminated from our positions. So we applied for different Veritas, Starseed, Sweetwater, and even Must Ministries. While the 3 months before December, when I tried to keep my apartment, I put in for these. I sent all the paperwork, but nothing ever happened. So at the time when it came toward the memorandum last till December, when it came, then there was nothing done, so I had to leave. I lost my apartment and the car at the same time. So I have been displaced since then. I have called several times. We can't no longer sit back. We are equal. We pay our tax dollars. We're working. Each one of us are working full time. But with our wages and trying to get back on our feet, we just need a helping hand. We're not looking to help down, a helping hand to help up, for us to be back out in the community and live our dreams like everyone else. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Timothy Gardner.
Okay.
Can I bring up who's with me?
Good evening. I'm sorry,
Can I
sir.
bring up who's with me? It's kind of like a group comment.
I'm not sure how we've conducted
Just
group
one.
comments. I'm hearing just one. Are they also signed up to speak this
Oh,
evening?
no, that's okay. We can come back.
Okay, thank you.
I'll just have them stand up then.
Okay.
Well, good evening, and thank you for this time. My name is Timothy Gardner. I'm an attorney for the family of Cavill Wingo. Mr. Wingo's son, daughters, and sisters are here today. Cavill Wingo died over a year and a half ago at the Cobb County Adult Detention Center from a perforated gastric ulcer that went untreated and unaddressed for over 10 hours. Despite his pleas to the Cobb County Detention Center staff, their deputies and nurses to go to the emergency room. After fainting several times and in front of the Cobb County deputies and nurses, Mr. Wingo was removed from the infirmary and placed in an isolated suicide cell where he died. The nurses sent him to die alone, mislabeling him a drug seeker and troublemaker because he pled to go to the hospital for over 9 hours. After 9 hours of begging for help, the Cobb County Adult Detention Center officers violated their policies and procedures and improperly placed Mr. Wingo's lifeless body in a suicide cell after stripping him of his clothes, the remaining dignity he had left, and placing a suicide smock on his back. To add insult to injury, they again violated their policies and did not check on Mr. Wingo every 12 minutes like they were supposed to, and discovered his body an hour later. The behavior was criminal. You all should be aware of Cavill Wingo's fight for justice. I think at the last meeting you all had on April 13th, DA Flynn Brody mentioned his name and his support for you all confirming, I guess, his budget items. And I sent you all a documentary outlining the circumstances and the criminal activities surrounding Mr. Wingo's death, and I think one of you all opened it who lives in Marietta. We also have a website, www.cavillwingo.com, where you can learn more about his death and the family's pursuit of justice. At your last meeting, you all took a moment of silence during public comments for Dante Wright, who was tragically killed while being detained. Some of you have even spoken out against people of color who have been detained and killed, people like George Floyd, people like Mr. Wright. Now, Mr. Wingo, like Mr. Wright and Mr. Floyd, was detained for an alleged minor offense. And yet, like Mr. Wright and Mr. Floyd, he died at the hands of law enforcement through their failure to treat him with decency he deserved. It does not matter that Mr. Wingo's detention and death was inside or outside the jail. We should be equally outraged at the circumstances leading to his death and should be demanding a prosecution. The Cobb County Board of Commissioners proclaimed last week, I think, Crime Victims Week. Mr. Wingo was the victim of a crime, and yet nothing has been done to prosecute that crime. You don't have to take my word for it. The former District Attorney Joyette Holmes said that a criminal investigation is needed into Mr. Wingo's death. DA Flynn Brody has stated that this family deserves a prosecution, but has also said that his office has some conflict of interest, but has not been disclosed. The Chief Deputy, Cindy Yeager, for DA Brody, has also said that there's enough evidence right now to present this case to a grand jury and that a prosecution should stand. Cobb County Sheriff Craig Owens, who is here tonight, actually referred this matter to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and they returned it saying that you can investigate it yourself and look into it yourself and reopen the investigation. To this date, nothing has been done yet. The Georgia Attorney General's office has been telling the Wingo family for over 9 months that a special prosecutor is going to be appointed to prosecute the crimes against Mr. Wingo that could have been avoided, but to date, no one has been appointed. It is Cobb County law enforcement leaders' responsibility to not force a family to relive the trauma as they are forced to do today and over again over the last months. This family has been forced over 1.5 years to play a shell game with justice, going to office to office to office, and now to this commission to ask support in their seek of justice. And every time that shell is lifted, nothing's there. This family invites you all to meet with them and to support them publicly in their demand for a prosecution into Cavill Wingo's death. They want you all to not approve any budget items for the district attorney or the sheriff's office until they answer the questions why a prosecution has not gone forward yet. Why has the case not been reopened? Why has the criminal investigation not been properly done? And why have these officers involved in Mr. Wingo's death still on the payroll and still working at the Cobb County Detention Center?
Mr. Gardner,
We can't call
Mr.
for
Gardner,
yeah.
your time is up.
I've got one
Thank you.
second.
Cynthia Johnson, you're the next public speaker.
Thank you for your time.
All right, we'll come back. Thank you.
I'll have to confer with our county attorney about,
You can't sign up for anybody else, so basically the next person would be Monica Delancey.
okay, who was, okay. Okay, so Bill, You just stated somebody else's name. Is she listed next, or?
She's next. Cynthia Johnson is next. She can't volunteer her time to someone else.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
Okay.
You can go ahead, just unable to volunteer your time to someone else.
I can?
You can go
No,
ahead, you can speak,
Okay.
but you can't
Gotcha.
sign someone else to speak, yeah.
Good evening, Chairwoman
Yeah.
and Commissioners. I'm here once again. I want to start out always positive. I'm so proud of you guys for doing ribbon cuttings and everything that you're doing around the community. But I want to make sure that I'm here every time that I get a chance. All week long, I was sick because I'm stressed and depressed about what I'm going through, but I'm going to pull myself up. Let me not waste that time of talking about me specifically, but everyone in my community. Let me tell you about yesterday, what happened to me. I'm going to piggyback off the young lady that was asking for resources. A couple months ago, I reached out to one of our senators, and they reached out to the Family Health Community Resources Center. I had no idea what they were. Some young lady called me inquiring about what was going on. I told her about it. She said she would call me back. Stressed and depressed, I didn't follow up. I heard the young lady, I think her name was Melanie, speaking to you guys about the resources that they received. I said, okay, let me pull myself up because I know time is not on my side. So I called back yesterday, in April the 6th, they said, I thought it was earlier than that, and they said that they had to open it back up because whoever did it before did not have me in the computer. So I did that. I waited and waited and waited. I have until May the 14th to find somewhere else to go and to pay my rent. I don't have time to linger. So I called back, spoke to the young lady. She said, it'll be a couple more weeks before somebody follow up. Again, I don't have a couple more weeks. So what I did is I emailed some of you guys, I'm sure you got it, along with the director, which is Melanie, over there. And I just was expressing her. I finally got a hold of her and was expressing her, listen, time is not on my side. I need some resources. I explained to what happened about the Section 8 and everything. Come to find out, the CEO of the company had called me. Basically, there's nothing they can do. What they did do is give me 3 people to call: Must Ministries, Zion, and Salvation Army. Must Ministries, I like Miss Stewart very well. She usually responds. I think she's on vacation right now. I contacted her group maybe on Thursday. I think his name was Elliot, told me to contact the intake person, Minnie, at 1:30. I did. She never answered. She never called. I left a message. She has never called me back since then. On Monday, I called back just to follow up. Didn't get in contact with somebody. So I emailed Miss Stewart, left a message, and maybe she's still out of town. I haven't heard from her. Time is not on my side. So what I did is contact Salvation Army. I couldn't even get the requirements until I filled out an application. Ma'am, just tell me the requirements because I don't want to waste your time or my time. I'm still waiting for a call. I spoke to Zion, that you guys have a CDG3 that's supposed to help people that has Section 8 can be helped. They didn't have no idea what was going on. I sat on the phone forever. I told them they have a meeting on Riverside tomorrow, and then they didn't have no idea about it. So finally, they told me I have to submit something saying in writing from my employer that I was affected. I was self-employed. I said, listen, I got an unemployment thing. That's what they said it was required. Can I submit that? Finally, after telling them what I heard what the process is, they said that was fine. Let me speed it up before my time is going on. What we need is a standard method of communication, the requirements to get this done. You have 5 different agencies, 5 different people doing the same different things. They all say, oh, we got funding, but we don't have this type of funding. We don't know which kind of funding we got. We just need help. As far as the Section 8 vouchers, do you know those people, I have lists of people not accepting their Section 8. So what's going to happen on the 14th? If I don't find housing by the 14th, my voucher will be taken. There's no place, and I can give you documents. There's no one taking Section 8 right now. I have been working with the Cobb County Board. I go to the outpatient. I have a case manager who's going to write me a letter because I know Chairman Keeper, you're on the board. They're so frustrated, people are ready to quit because they can't find their client's assistant with housing. Come on, y'all. Let's take this off. Let's take the commissioner's titles. Let's take all that. Let me speak to you as women. We got to do more. Time is not on our side. The rental assistance is temporary. We're bleeding. We need surgery. We need a permanent fix. Let's give me some ideas. When I was on a Zoom call last night, Public Housing Authority, they said they relaxed on their requirements. They do it self documentation or whatever. There's methods that you can take. I like Commissioner Richardson when you said you want to Cobb County.
Ms. Johnson, I'm sorry.
Thank you for your time. Please listen.
Monica Delancey.
Good evening, Monica Delancey, Riverside Community. I want to first address a comment that was referenced in the Mirror Daily Journal about cityhood and homeowners being allowed to vote. When I brought this attention to our District 4 Commissioner, she immediately contacted Mirror Daily Journal and stated that she believed that homeowners and voters should participate and be allowed to vote on cityhood. And the reason I needed for that to be rectified and corrected, because I reside in Cobb County. I've been residing on Riverside Parkway for 13 years. Even though I'm not a homeowner, I've spent over $130,000 paying my rent. I've done that at the same time raising my child, Breon, who is now 21 years of age. She was 7 when we first moved here. And my son, who is 5. He's now 18 years old, and he's a senior in high school. I've done that without no assistance from no voucher program or anything. I've done it with just being a single income earner. And I say that to say that yes, there might have been some missed payments. Yes, there might have been some other things that come around, but I was raising my kids and at the same time being able to go and motivate renters to be a voice in the community. So when they look in the newspaper, they don't see and say, well, I cannot participate because I'm not a homeowner. So again, that's why I wanted to make sure that was rectified. I do want to also reiterate continued support and solutions for the short-term rental assistance being offered. There are some hiccups, but yes, they have to be patient. I'm reminding people to stay focused, make sure you turn all the documents in. And yes, the rental assistance is going to come, but we do have to think about long-term solutions, long-term plan. I'm appalled at the fact that Marriott Housing Authority is only allowing up to so much of they're going to pay for two-bedroom homes. I looked at the list. For 301-6A, the max they will pay is $791 for a two-bedroom. Well, apartments are starting at $1,000. Yes, in 301-6A. Then the amounts are increased. We looked at Smyrna, we looked at Marietta. The amounts do increase, but however, if they're saying they're going to pay $1,100, let's say East Cobb for the max on a voucher, but their two bedrooms are $1,275, well, that still knocks out people. That knocks out families. That knocks out people that are trying to become a part of the community. This young lady that's here that's going to speak behind me, she's been here for 2 years. She's a part of the Thriving Project. She comes and she speaks here. Her grandson comes to the Thriving Resource Center and a part of our reading club. But now she has to move because her apartment complex is saying, we don't want to take vouchers anymore. That's not fair. That's unacceptable. And I'm appalled that's happening. So I just wanted to make sure I noted that. Moving on to some announcements. This past Sunday, we held our Read to Succeed event in observance of Global Youth Service Day at the Thrive Resource Center, located in Kingsland Village Apartments. We were able to give out 200 books. Adults and children took out books. Tomorrow, Zion Keepers will be at the Thrive Resource Center taking applications for rental assistance. And that Thrive Resource Center is located at Kingsley Village, 595 Riverside Parkway, Austell, Georgia, 30168. They'll be there from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., caseworkers taking applications. Next week is Teacher Appreciation Week. We want to thank our teachers, bus drivers, parapros, custodians, parents, community stakeholders, because yes, this year's been a trying year. We want to make sure we thank everybody for Teacher Appreciation Week. And I close. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Susan Mueller.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Susan Mealer. I'm here speaking about the lack of housing here in Cobb County, and also concerning the use of the Marietta housing voucher regarding the standard payment amount for a two-bedroom in the 30168 area code, zip code. Marietta Housing is only paying $791, as Ms. Monica stated. There's no apartments nor private owners accepting this low rental payment. Many complexes in Austell, the rental amounts are from $950 and up. The lack of housing in Cobb County is a big problem. I am bringing this issue again to the Cobb County Commissioners as well to state that this is a dire issue, not only for myself, but for other renters looking for a place to stay. I thank you again for your time and cooperation in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Denise Stroman.
Good evening. My name is Denise Stroman. Hello, Ms. Lisa Cupid and all the commissioners. I'm here today to talk about the Cobb rental assistance that we have in Cobb. We have temporary rental assistance, but we should have something that would be long-term for Cobb residents. I've been working for 2 jobs, but one of my jobs was closed due to the COVID. So right now I'm just keeping my feet up on water. I also would recommend that if we could have more public housing. I don't want to move my family to another area with family. I like the schools here, and I don't want my children to be behind on their grades. So if we could push for it and make changes immediately for the Cobb residency, I'll appreciate that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Chairwoman Cubitt, that concludes the speakers for the beginning of the meeting.
Thank you, Bill. We will now move to the consent agenda of our meeting, and just want to acknowledge before I do that, those speakers that were here. It is our policy to listen, so we do not respond to each individual matter that's brought up. That doesn't necessarily reflect the board's view on the matter, just to be objective and to allow everyone their full time to speak. We do not respond at this time, but we do thank you for coming. Again, with our consent agenda, we have a number of items which did scroll before our meeting that have the items that we will vote on during this tab. We do have a modification to make, and I move that we add the non-agenda item from the county attorney's office. I believe it's agenda item 46. I move that we add that to the consent agenda. Is there a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor of adding this to the consent agenda, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0. With that, I move that we approve the items listed in consent as revised and authorize execution of the necessary documents by the appropriate county personnel. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of approving consent, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0. Thank you, commissioners. Yes, Commissioner.
Do you need to note that number 7 was?
Yes, that was already reflected in our documents, but yes, for the public to know that item 7 was withdrawn from our consent agenda, and that was pertaining to the sheriff's office and procurement of equipment and services for in-car body-worn cameras. With that, we have the sheriff's office here as part of our regular agenda for agenda item number 28.
Good evening, Madam Chair.
Good evening.
Commissioners. I'm Mike Register with the Cobb County Sheriff's Office. The SPLOSH 2016 budget included the appropriation funding for facility innovations and also capital equipment purchases. As an improvement to the equipment available to the Sheriff's Office when employing on high-risk incidents, The addition of a Lenco Bearcat armored motorized vehicle will not only give us enhanced tactical capabilities, but it will give us better capabilities to respond to SWAT-type incidents, high-risk warrant services, and also support of integrated critical incidents within the county. This unit is compatible with other armored vehicles that the county owns. The Sheriff's Office is requesting the Board of Commissioners authorize the use of these available avenues to enter into purchase agreements with the appropriate vendor to procure the public safety armored transport vehicle, the Lenco Bearcat.
Thank you. I'll move that we approve this agenda item. Is there a second? Is there any discussion from the commissioners? All those in favor of this item, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners.
We will now move on to DOT's portion of our regular agenda.
Good evening, Chairwoman
Good
and
evening.
Commissioners. We'll have multiple items for your consideration this afternoon. So our first item is requesting for the board to consider board's recommendation to determine that circumstances are such that it is necessary to proceed with declarations of takings under OCGA 32-3-4, authorize the commencement of condemnation proceedings on 5 parcels on South Barrett Reliever Phase 3, adopt resolutions and orders in forms substantially similar to the attached and as approved by the county attorney's office, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute those necessary documents.
All right. Commissioner Burrow.
Motion to approve.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next item for consideration is requesting that the Board of Commissioners determine that circumstances are such that it is necessary to proceed with condemnation proceedings by declaration of taking under OCGA 32-3-4, authorize the commencement of condemnation proceedings on 2 parcels on Sandtown Road, adopt resolutions and orders in forms substantially similar to the attached and as approved by the county attorney's office, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Gambrill.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners approve a contract with D&H Construction Company, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $375,347.50 for drainage system repairs on Heritage Trace Drive, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Richardson.
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Our next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners authorize the procurement of miscellaneous items needed as a total cost not to exceed $302,097.09 to include installation as required for inclement weather equipment and supply storage for project number X2605.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion carries 5-0.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Our next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners approve a consultant services agreement with Lowe Engineers, LLC, in an amount not to exceed $159,397 for engineering design of Powder Springs Road Trail, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Gambrill.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners approve an intergovernmental agreement with the Atlanta Region Transit Link Authority for the development of the Marietta Transfer Center relocation and the Marietta Maintenance Facility expansion, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and authorize the chairwoman to execute necessary documents in the form substantially similar to the attached and is approved by the county attorney's office.
Commissioner Burrow.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners approve Amendment Number 1 to the intergovernmental agreement with the City of Marietta for resurfacing of White Circle and authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Burrow.
Motion to approve.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Our next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners approve a final closeout of various contracts, a total savings to various projects in the amount of $55,031.47 for completed projects in the 2005, 2011, and the 2016 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program funds and the capital projects funds, and authorize the corresponding budget and accounting transactions.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners approve resurfacing contract 2021-3 Local Roads North with Baldwin Paving Company, Inc., in an amount not to exceed $4,207,423.38 for resurfacing of county-maintained streets, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Gambrill.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners approve a construction agreement with the Georgia Department of Transportation for Kennesaw Mountain pedestrian improvements and authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
All right. Commissioner Gambrill.
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, ma'am. And our last item for consideration is requesting that the Board of Commissioners approve a contract with Llewellyn Construction Company, Inc., in an amount not to exceed $8,198,587.99 for Kennesaw Mountain pedestrian improvements, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman's execution.
It is District 1 DOT Day. Commissioner Gambrill.
So moved.
Yes. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We will now move to finance as part of our regular agenda.
Good evening, Chairwoman, Commissioners, County Manager. Finance has one item tonight, and it is the reversal of the approved funding for safety, security, and transportation expenses associated with hosting the 2021 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. There are a few exceptions to this, as these were some legacy systems that were asked to be kept within public safety and the sheriff's office. Those items are the real-time crime center and all necessary components therein for an amount of $605,000. And then within the sheriff's office, we're requesting 2 tactical aerial platforms. Those are drones, drone training program, dense crowd weapon systems, and the Wave radio app in the amount of $80,980. So those are the exceptions. Without those exceptions, we're asking that the reversal of all transactions related to the MLB All-Star Game be returned to fund balance. So at this time, if you have any questions about those individual items, the exceptions, I have both Chief Cox here as well as the Sheriff's Office to answer any of those questions for you.
All right. I'll move on this agenda item, and then we'll have discussion after the motion and second. All right. Any discussion? No discussion.
Okay.
All right. So all those in favor of this agenda item, may you please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0. Thank you for being
Thank you.
here. Yeah.
Thank you all.
We are now on to our second public comment.
Yes, Chairman, the first one is Randall Bedgood.
Good afternoon. My name is Randall Bedgood. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the commissioner of the commission chairwoman and commissioners for allowing me to speak. The first thing I want to talk about is, like I said, I never do anything for myself. I'm looking out for other people. And the first thing I want to talk about is pay raises for the county employees. I'm not talking about the public safety department. That's already taken. Y'all always take care of that. There's no problem there. But your employees, your DOT, the guy that mows the right of way, the guy that picks up the trash, park service, the HR people, the building services people, all those people, they just kind of get pushed away. I know at y'all's retreat that y'all talked about retention, that you're losing a lot of people because the pay wasn't sufficient. And then you come up, and y'all are a highly educated group of people. And y'all come up and give these people a 3% incentive bonus. Now, when you do a bonus, like I said, y'all are well educated. When you do a bonus, you don't increase anybody's standard of living. That's a one-shot deal. Next year, you give them another 3% bonus. You never increase their standard of living. You never increase their pension. You look out for all the other county, like I said, not all the other county employees. You look out for the police department and sheriff's department and firemen. You, 2 years ago, I think it was, you even agreed to pay for their annuity fund. It was $25 a month. And at the time you did that, I told you, or I suggested to you, I said, that's not going to be the end of it. I said, that's $25 a month. But it'll go up. And sure enough, it went to $30. I don't know what it is now. It may be gone up again. And it will continue to go up. But the county employees are not getting anything out of that. That's an extra pension fund for those people in the fire department and public safety that the regular employees are not getting. And I'd like for you to make a commitment to the employees that you're going to start the budget process. And the first thing you should do in the new budget process is you should make a commitment to those employees that you're going to give them a 6% raise. That'll catch them up a little bit over what they've already lost. Because I think last year you gave them an incentive bonus too. But don't come in and give them a 3% incentive bonus. If nothing else, you should have given them a 1.5% raise and a 1.5% incentive bonus. But the way you did it, they really didn't get anything. And those are hard-working people. And they do some of the hardest jobs in the county. DOT, pothole people, parks, people that mow the grass. Okay, today I watched part of your work session, and you had a pretty ambitious, or somebody had a pretty ambitious program about the trash pickup. There's other things in it. I didn't have time to watch the whole thing. But you should use the sheriff's department. The sheriff's department has inmates down there that are low risk, that you could furnish them a van and a trailer, just like you're going to do to other people, and you could furnish the sheriff's some employees, pay for how many deputies it takes, and let them do the trash pickup. These people are low-risk people that are down there. They're in there for child support, DUI, one thing or another. And when they go to court, if you ever go up and watch the court, which I'm sure you don't ever do, but I've done it before, and when these people are either plead guilty or convicted, the first thing they do, or either the lawyer does, is ask that they serve their time in the Cobb County Jail. And the reason why they do that is because if they have a 1-year sentence, they get 1 day off their sentence every day for good behavior. So if they got a year sentence, if they good behavior, they only serve 6 months instead of going into the state prison system. So you need to look at that. And one other thing, real quick, is architectural control. I know I'm not going to have time to finish this, but I was on the architectural control committee back when everything was done on Dallas Highway and Barrett Parkway. That thing has been shot to crap now. We just had the Arby's painted white. Looks like a big white elephant there. And then we got another building down there. Used to be Vincent's. I don't know what it's going to be now, but it's painted white. Everything we did, that architectural control, was supposed to be about the appearance of the area.
Mr. Bedgood, I'm sorry, your time's up.
And I wish y'all would look into that. Thank you.
Chairman, we have one additional speaker, although she said that she had to leave. I just want to call out her name to make sure. Christine Rosman. Christine Rosman. She did inform staff that she had to leave. I just want to make sure.
Okay. Thank you. Our next tab is the Appointments tab. We have 5 items. The first item is to approve the appointment of Courtney Knight to the Development Authority as the chair's appointment. I move that we approve Courtney Knight to the Development Authority. Is there a second? Second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0. Next, we have an appointment by Commissioner Richardson to approve the reappointment of Mark Griffin to the Cemetery Preservation Commission.
So moved.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0. We have 2 announcements by Commissioner Richardson.
I'd like to announce the appointment of Neil Fusilla to the Transit Advisory Board and announce the appointment of Charmin Southall to the Historic Preservation Commission.
Thank you. Our final item is to approve the appointment of Martina Gosha to the Public Library Board of Trustees.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Commissioners. We are next moving on to our final tab of the night, which is, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. I just received a message that Mr. Knight is here. I would like to thank you for joining us this evening so we can recognize your appointment to the Development Authority. We look forward to you joining us, and I also want to thank Mr. Ross for his service as the prior chair's appointment. Thank you for stepping up to serve. With that, again, we'll move on to our final tab, and we will start off with Commissioner Gambrill.
Thank you very much. So our Cobb Senior Services has been a year of spring giving. During this past year, our senior services held contactless food drive-ups for older adults with their last drive on April 16th. In 13 months, they gave out 6,383 pantry boxes, 5,284 fresh meals, 3,346 boxes of produce, 1,200 gift cards for Thanksgiving and Christmas, 2,300 masks. A huge thank you to fellow county employees from Safety Village, the libraries, police, sheriff, water, HR, communications, the district attorneys, tax commissioners, support services, fleet, extension, and fire for all helping at these events. And one more. Our poultry judging, our junior poultry judging team placed first at the Northwest District Contest on Thursday, April 15th. Congratulations to Arisha, Phoebe, Summer, and Ryder. The Cobb 4-H senior team also placed first and advanced to the state contest that will be held Friday, April 30th in Oglethorpe County. The first place senior team consists of Emma Bear of Harrison High School, Venyol Gunjal of Wheeler High School, and Emily Racinos of Hillgrove High School. Venya was named second high overall individual, and Emma was named fourth high overall individual. Congratulations. Camp Puzzles was this past weekend, and it was my first experience visiting this event, and it was quite memorable. And around 2015, a young man on the autism spectrum by the name of John Sellers couldn't participate in a Cobb Fire Explorers program for certain reasons. Therefore, Camp Puzzle was founded by Cobb Fire employee and our very own Public Services Agency Director, Bill Tanks. Are you still here, Bill? No? Okay. Camp Puzzle is designated to give young people on the autism spectrum an opportunity to be with public safety hero for a day. They get to sit in a police car, ride a fire truck, go up in a ladder truck, play in a bouncy house and inflatable slides, play games, basketball, cornhole, crafts, and meet with firefighters, police officers, sheriff's deputies, and our 911 operators. Again, I had opportunity to visit this past Sunday. It was a gorgeous day. and enjoyed the sights with all of our students. Our next Camp Puzzle will be April 23rd in 2022, so please get that on your calendar. And you can learn more about it at www.camppuzzle.org. Town halls, we are on our way. We are going to do our first town hall. It's going to be covering our roads and parks. We have a tentative site and a tentative date of May 20th at Lost Mountain Park. We will have guest speakers of Kimberly White, Dallas Kane, and Bill Tanks. Please look in the newsletter for future updates. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next on to Commissioner Richardson.
All right. Hello, everybody. Get to the next. So this past weekend, we had a little bit of fun in honor of Sexual Violence Awareness. We also held our second act of kindness. So as you know, we launched it last month, and this month, that was what we focused on, working with a self-defense class for the community. So you can see just some action shots there. The best one did not make it on this slide, sadly. It's my administrative assistant doing a really nice hit. But everyone had a really great time. And on a more serious note, afterwards, as a part of Acts of Kindness, we always regroup to have a deeper conversation about the systemic nature of whatever issue we're focused on for that month. And so, of course, this conversation rooted around a discussion on domestic and sexual violence that exists within our community. And so we had a very deep discussion, a very open and honest discussion with those that joined, and quite a few ideas in terms of how we can better protect our community and our residents with some of these issues. Next. Appointments. So you heard me announce them. We approved some, and you can see at least 2 out of the 3 pictures on here. Mark Griffin doesn't look like that, but we did, yeah. Congratulations to our appointees. Community huddles, so I usually announce these as they come. We have one this weekend with 3 members of our community cabinet. So you see Louisa Wakeman, Stephen Mintz, and Dan Heydrich. This covers public health and mental health, vulnerable populations, and veterans affairs. So if you want to have a chance to meet these individuals, please hop on. It'll be this weekend at 11 a.m. Zoom call. Community updates. So congratulations, Precinct 3. Last Thursday, Major Bullock and Captain Chur welcomed the new seat members of Precinct 3, and actually as a board, we were able to be there to recognize all of these young men and women as they crossed over and joined our ranks, finishing up with the police academy. And so it was just fantastic seeing them join the precinct. Stop the Spread, a business recognition program. So one of the things that's really near and dear to my heart, we know that healthcare workers went really far above and beyond to service our communities. We know teachers did. One of the groups that don't always get the recognition, but really did contribute a lot, are our businesses. They changed their operations. They worked with their employees. A lot of our businesses went above and beyond to help stop the spread. And so the community, myself, we all agreed that this is something worthwhile to acknowledge, and so we rolled out somewhat of a community recognition program. So if there are businesses that you want to highlight, that you want to shine a light on for doing something amazing, we're asking for you to share that story so that we can recognize their efforts as a part of helping stop the spread. Paper shredding event. Yes, Keep Cobb Beautiful is hosting a paper shredding event this Saturday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at 548 South Marietta Parkway. Accepted items include medical bills, credit card statements, letters, and others. They ask you to remove all paper clips and staples beforehand, and you're encouraged to bring your hefty energy bags with hard-to-recycle plastics. These bags can be purchased at local Kroger store. So please participate in that. If you were a part of our work session earlier, you saw how dynamic that team is, and we want to do everything we can to support their vision and their efforts as we move forward in bringing the community together. That concludes my announcements.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Burrow?
Thank you. One of the sidewalk projects in District 3 was Ebenezer Road and Maybreeze Road. And here are some pictures of the kids going to school on Maybreeze Road for the new sidewalks. This will allow a new safe path for children walking to school. These new sidewalks on Maybreeze provide connectivity to McCluskey Middle School on Maybreeze Road and also Nicholson Elementary on Shallowford Road. So it's not just the children enjoying the sidewalks. A lot of adults are out in the community, getting outside, walking, meeting one another, and exercising and going places. So the kids also did a video to thank me for the sidewalks, but it's too long to get in here. But look on Facebook, it's there. Also on Friday, April 16th, I had the pleasure of joining the Bells Ferry Civic Association and Officer Farr to clean up the Bells Ferry Road corridor. That's their Adopt-A-Mile. You heard a lot about that at work session, about our group's Adopt-A-Mile. So this group is religious about doing their Adopt-A-Mile and once a quarter and in between if they can. And they recruited about 10 or 12 volunteers, and we joined them, and we thank all the volunteers that came out. Myself and Officer Farr for providing our traffic safety there. So thank you to Bells Ferry Civic Association for all you do to keep Cobb beautiful. And thank you to Officer Farr for keeping us safe and DOT for picking up the litter-filled bags. They actually, I thought I had how many? They had like 29 bags. And as you heard earlier today, cigarette butts were the majority of the trash. That was my job. So this group is like your Lions Club group, Barry Krebs in South Cobb. And Aaron Mulgrew here on the right is one of my appointments to keep Cobb beautiful. So they're very active, a very active group. Okay, the Northeast Cobb Business Association is doing their annual 5K9 road race and street market on Saturday, June the 12th at Piedmont Church. You can bring your dogs, run, walk, play, or shop. You can register at northeastcobbba.com. There are sponsorship opportunities available and also vendor opportunities. And we ask that you participate. I know our DA's office always participates in the race with the Swift Justice team. And we ask everyone to come out. I know, Madam Chair, you're a runner too, so come on out. And then, a couple weeks ago, we had a visitor on the third floor. I think the sheriff's office have left us, haven't they? This is one of the new canines in the sheriff's office. His name is Hammer, for Hank Aaron, and the sheriff allowed him to come up and visit me, and I took him around and introduced him on the third floor. This top left picture, we visited Jennifer because she's a big dog lover too. I don't think you were here, Madam Chair, that day. Okay. And we also visited the county manager's office and all around third floor. And then the county manager was having a meeting in the boardroom, and we busted in there too. Now, this is a bomb sniffing dog, but he didn't find anything, but he did sniff everything. So, and Ross was gracious enough to follow us around with the camera, and I think you're going to see a video. But I'd just like to thank Sheriff Owens and his staff for bringing Hammer by to see us.
Oh, wow.
Okay, K-9 Hammer from the Sheriff's Office has come to visit the Board of Commissioners today. And we're so excited to have him. He's a bomb sniffing dog, correct?
Yes, ma'am, he is.
Okay. And would y'all like to introduce yourselves, because you're going to be in my newsletter?
Okay. I'm Deputy John Beasley
And
from the
public
Sheriff's
comment.
Office.
And he's Hammer's handler.
And this is a Canine Hammer. He is a
He is
German
a-
Shepherd from Hungary, and he'll be 2 in May.
And he's beautiful. Come here.
Ma'am.
And we also have Colonel Nations and Colonel Mailing from the Cobb County Sheriff's Office. And a big thank you to Sheriff Owens for letting him out of his normal area to come visit us today. There's Jennifer and Judith. We have a lot of dog lovers up here. He is a beautiful dog. Sharon. He had to go see Sharon. He is beautiful. Okay, K-9 Hammer from the Sheriff's Office.
All right, that was.
Yeah, he was a beautiful dog and very smart. And I normally have treats for Splash, so Hammer got her treats. Sorry, you weren't here. And just remind everyone to sign up for our newsletters. They go out every week, and a lot of events, DOT projects, and a lot of information. Public meetings, everything, zoning, everything included. Thank you.
Thank you. Great job, Commissioner, and Ross Cavett for that video. Thank you. All right, moving on to Commissioner Sheffield.
Okay, we can move to the next slide. A special thanks to Michael Brantley and his Parks and Recs team, and also to the Parks appointees and to the Mableton Improvement Coalition for their collaboration on the new passive park in the downtown Mableton area. The Mableton Town Square Park is a playground for kids to enjoy and for families to connect. The new community gathering space is centered around Mableton Elementary School. I would also like to thank our community stakeholders, residents, and businesses for purchasing picnic tables, trash receptacles, and benches. A portion of the proceeds will be used for maintenance and improvements for the park. There are still sponsorship opportunities for benches available. Please visit parks@mableton.org. Next slide. Once again, congratulations to Taylor Dax for earning the Eagle Scout Award, which is the highest award offered by the Boy Scouts of America. In zone, join me and District 4 Planning Commissioner Galt Porter tomorrow evening for our monthly In the Zone meeting. Our monthly meetings are designed to share information on the following month's zoning cases and provide a platform for the community to ask questions and express concerns or just provide input on our upcoming zoning cases. As you can see, we have several on the docket for next month. I want to say we may have 9 cases. A couple of them are a bit controversial, so I fully expect that there will be quite a few residents on the call tomorrow, but hopefully you will find time to join us. And we can skip that slide since Commissioner Richardson already discussed that. Let there be light. Join me, Deidre, and Austell residents this coming Saturday, May 1st, as we canvass to sign a petition for additional street lights in Austell. Additional lighting will bring much-needed illumination to the Blairs Bridge corridor and also provide another layer of safety to its residents. Please contact deidre.watts@cobbcounty.org for additional information. I am pleased to announce that downtown Mableton has been selected to become the home of a luxury residential flats and community retail development. This boutique development will have luxury amenities that will mirror the development on Riverview Road in Smyrna. In fact, it is the same developer. It will also offer retail space for a community restaurant and other retail outlets below its luxury flats, and is also a short walk to the Bike Depot trailhead to the Silver Comet Trail. Join us for a roundtable discussion next week on May 4th to learn more about the development. And also, please email deidre.watts@cobbcounty.org for the meeting link. Thank you. That should conclude my presentation.
Thank you, Commissioner. Wrapping up tonight's comments, just wanted to, again, provide a brief recap on what's going on with our pandemic. Our rates and cases are certainly going down. Just still want to encourage people to use precaution as we are still in the middle of a pandemic, and until our rates get under 100 cases out of 100,000 people, we are still in a high rate of transmission. And I also wanted to recognize that Lisa Crossman in her presentation provided that over 1,000 residents of Cobb County have passed away. And while that number may seem insignificant, each life that was lost was significant. And so we just want to be mindful that we are still in the middle of a pandemic. People are still getting infected, and there are people who are still succumbing to this. So let's please be mindful of one another and the unknown vulnerability of our neighbor as we try to get through this together. Each and every BOC meeting, we hear from persons who are struggling with housing, and we are fortunate through our emergency rental assistance program to have received funding that has gone out to different organizations, 5 of them here in Cobb. And even though we are hearing from individuals who are having hardships, we did want to share some stats of the implementation of this program from April 1st when we kicked it off. Over 1,500 applications have been received, and about 350 households have received assistance over the past 3 weeks, totaling about $2.5 million of the $23 million that we have dedicated to this program. The average award to a household is about $7,370. Star C has awarded up to $12,000 to help stop evictions, and they have been located actually at the courts when people are there for an evictions hearing. And the nonprofits will be rotating, serving within the court systems to help prevent people from getting removed from their homes when they go before the judge. So we want to thank Star C for their work, and want to thank all of our staff that have been working together. I know our county manager and county attorney have been working with those nonprofits to ensure that we are abiding by the program requirements, which unfortunately does have some hefty requirements to ensure that there's no fraud with the federal program. But as we get through that, we want you to know that we are indeed assisting our residents. Next slide, please. I want to thank you to our Cobb County employees. It was recognized in a prior slide, all the work that has been done in partnership with senior services who partnered with Safety Village, libraries, police, sheriff, water, HR, communications, the DA, tax commissioner, support services, fleet, extension, and fire. And it's good to see how our working together helps to make great things happen for our county. And this is just one example of many of how our departments and our employees come together to serve our residents. Next slide, please. Oh, the Atlanta Regional Commission has an open application period for the Model Atlanta Regional Commission program and want to encourage you to go to their website. You can Google search Atlanta Regional Commission and find out how a young high schooler can participate. I think it's a great opportunity for them to learn how the region, our counties within the region, and our cities within the region come together to serve and move our state forward. All right, here's more information. It's for rising 10th and 11th grade students, and the website is there, atlantaregional.com/MARC, and it's fortunate there's no cost for the program, and the application deadline is June 4th. All right, wanted to share that I will be hosting a town hall on May 18th at 7 p.m. to walk through SB 202 and the impact that it will have here in Cobb County. There has been a lot of dialogue around this, and I thought we would just take time to walk through each of the provisions so people can understand what the impact on Cobb County will be should the bill continue to move forward as is. Well, it was passed, so should that process associated with that bill continue to move forward as is, excuse me. Next up, we have been putting the spotlight on Cassie Masloom recently, and it is certainly deserved, as she has been recognized through the Georgia Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency. She provides leadership for Cobb's Emergency Management Agency. Her many hours of service have been recognized to develop 4 operational recovery plans and participation in our county's National Flood Insurance Program. Also helping to establish the training, associated with the Emergency Management Performance Grant Program. She's also helped the county become designated as a storm-ready community by the National Weather Service. Each of these plans, programs, and initiatives are important, and they play a critical role in the county's overall preparedness and ability to respond and recover from an emergency. So I just want to send a shout out to you, Cassie, as you're helping us to be able to weather whatever comes our way, including the pandemic. There is a diversity walk that North Cobb Regional Library will be presenting as April is Celebrate Diversity Month, and I encourage you to please reach out to North Cobb Library for more information. But this diversity walk is between April 5th through the 30th for persons of all ages and of all mobilities, as it's wheelchair accessible. And people will be able to walk through a path to learn about the beauty of the diversity of our community. It was recognized that we had graduates of our most recent mandate of police officers, and a number of commissioners had the ability to attend this momentous occasion as they have had to train during a pandemic. And we want to recognize them getting through this program and being committed during the pandemic and through a lot of transition in the expectations of policing in our country. And while this can be looked as a barrier or a challenge, for them, I think they are able to overcome that challenge and recognize this as an opportunity to rewrite our history of how we police in Cobb as we work to keep all of our officers and all of our communities safe. So I want to commend these fine men and women who stepped up to serve, and we look forward to seeing them in our communities. Next, I would like to recognize Joe Daniel for his avid service in leading Vinings Bank here in Cobb. While he serves in leadership in that position, he served in leadership in the business community and civic community for several years, and recently celebrated becoming an octogenarian, which is living 80 years of life on this planet. And it was beautiful to attend his ceremony and hear a lot of his contributions to helping to spur economic development, not only in Cobb, but in our state. Finally, I want to thank Galt Porter. He is serving currently as the District 4 appointee to the Planning Commission, but I understand will not be serving after this month. One of his peers reached out to me to ensure that he was recognized, and I was glad to do that because Galt has served with his whole heart on our planning commission to ensure that not only the standard of District 4 is raised, where we can introduce things like luxury flats, which were only in ambition for some time, but he has also helped to ensure that we are being good stewards across the county. I met Galt as a citizen way before I thought about running for office, and I just remember this voice that was always urging for us to consider the best of the south part of the county when we didn't always perceive that we were getting the best. And he would come to every meeting diligently and utilize his real estate expertise to raise the bar. And so when I was elected to serve in 2013, it was a no-brainer on who I thought could help raise the standard of land use and zoning for District 4. I know that he has certainly helped to provide a good transition into the District 4 Commission, and I look forward to Commissioner Sheffield being able to continue that legacy of strong land use and zoning that we've had here in the South Cobb area. With that, for all commissioners, I just want to thank all of you. It's a pleasure to sit here and listen to your announcements and to see all that you're doing in the community. We are certainly stronger together as a board, and you guys really help to make Cobb County a special place for everyone as you're out in the community. With that, thank you, and everyone who's joined us, please have a good night. You're welcome.